Welcome back, guys, to We Talk Boxing. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about Joyce and his latest opponent. Now, in terms of this card, it sees Joyce take on Filip Hrgovic on the 5th of April in Manchester. Now, originally, the opponent wasn't meant to be Hrgovic, it was meant to be Dillian Whyte, and I did do a video, but I just didn't get it out in time. So obviously, I had to curtail from publishing that video. But anyhow, this is a new video, so I'm just going to be talking about the fight, which is announced now, and hopefully give you guys my thoughts. Now, initially, my thoughts between Joyce and Dillian Whyte, which probably doesn't really matter now anyway, but I felt as if I was edging more towards Joyce in the fact that I just felt as if he's still got a little bit more to give in terms of the boxing, the heavyweight boxing landscape. Whereas Dillian Whyte, I think there's too much things going on behind the scenes. He's not. He says he's training, but you can see that there's these external things, and maybe like one of those things was the failed drug test that happened, and maybe that's something's going on in the background, and maybe court case, etc., etc. So I won't get into that into this video, but yeah, I just felt as if between those two, Joyce and Whyte, I just favoured Joyce because I felt as if he had a little bit more. But it would have been an intriguing matchup, to be fair, to see both of these guys go up against each other. Anyhow, we're here now to talk about Joyce and Filip Hrgovic. Now, this will see the pair meet for the first time as professionals. Now, they previously have met back in the days as amateurs, so they know each other. So they're not new to each other, which is a good thing, really. But we won't be talking about that amateur because what happens in that amateurs is not really going to take too much into regarding what's going to happen now as these guys are pros. But anyhow, we should know. So a lot of my viewers should know who Filip Hrgovic is and should know who Joyce is. But anyhow, I'll give you guys just a little bit of a breakdown. Now, in terms of Joyce, he's had 19 professional bouts to date, 16 wins with 3 losses on his record. Now, two of those 3 losses, I should say, were knockout defeats to Zile Big Bang Zhang back in 2023. And the other loss was to Derek Chisora in his last fight, which is a 10-round unanimous decision. Now, Joyce has 15 of his 16 wins have been by KO as well, so it does suggest that he is a big puncher, but he's also susceptible to getting hit. He doesn't move his head a lot. He's not a young pup. He's 39 years of age, but he did have quite a substantial amount of amateur bouts, 67 in total, winning 52, losing 11. 2 of those 11 losses were KO losses, and 17 of his 52 wins were KO wins. So he's been around for a while, since 2017. Very good amateur pedigree, 6'6" in height, 80-inch reach according to BoxRec, and he's known as the Juggernaut. And prior to his first loss against Zile Zhang, he was one of these guys to be tipped to take over the heavyweight division once the big boys have pretty much all gone or retired, I should probably say. But it wasn't to be. Obviously, he suffered those 2 big back-to-back defeats against Big Bang. Now, Filip Hrgovic in himself is 32 years of age, 6'6" according to BoxRec, and he started his career as well in 2017. In terms of amateur-wise, he had 69 bouts in total, so similar to Joyce, winning 59 and losing 10. None of those 10 losses were KOs, so again, good durability there. And of his 59 wins, 23 of those were by KO as well, which is pretty good as an amateur, because you don't really see a lot of knockouts as amateurs, really. Now, as a professional, he's currently got 17 wins and 1 loss on his record. That 1 loss coming as a KO loss. That was to Daniel Dubois. Okay, so not long ago either, back in 2024, June to be precise. That was an 8th round where pretty much the corner stopped the fight because of the doctor. There was a cut on the eye or something like that. I remember the fight. But anyhow, of his 17 wins, he's got 14 KOs. So we all should know pretty much who both of these guys are, and it's a very intriguing fight. And I believe that this is potentially a tougher fight for Joe Joyce than what Dillian White was. Dillian White would have been a tough fight because it's a British domestic clash, but Filip Hrgovic is no mug. Hopefully he's been training and hopefully he's fit and motivated for this fight, because if he is, then this is certainly going to be Joe Joyce's hardest fight to date, at this moment in time. And the reason why I say to date is because he has been in harder fights, but this is the fight that's going to make or break his career. In fact, that if he doesn't come out of this fight the winner, or if he doesn't get a draw at least, and he loses, let's say, it's pretty much curtains on his career. And I don't really like saying that against the boxer who's only had 3 losses on his record, because when someone's only had 3, you know what I mean, they can come back. Because when you look at someone like Derek Chisora's had like 1,000,000 losses, but he's still fighting, he's still in big fights. So 3 losses or 4 if you lose this next fight, it's not the end of the world, but it's the matter of how you've lost and who you've lost to. Now, someone like a Filip Hrgovic hasn't fought since 2014. Prior to that fight, wasn't active either. So if you lose to someone who's not been active and is up there in the rankings, then it doesn't really look good. Okay, you're going to find it hard to get fights. So if you do get fights, you're going to be pretty much be seen as meat for the up-and-coming fighter. Now, in terms of Filip Hrgovic, this is a make or break fight for him as well, because we haven't really seen a good Filip Hrgovic in a while. Okay, to be precise, I'd probably say it was before the first Zhang fight. He's only fought him once. Before the Zhang fight, in that Zhang fight, he just looked terrible, and every performance since then, it hasn't looked great either. So we need to see a good performance from Filip Hrgovic, and we need to see that he wants to be in there and he wants to try and build himself back up to the position where he was before the first Zhang fight. So yeah, this is a fight which is going to make or break both guys, but it's going to be difficult for the loser to progress in terms of his career, because he's going to have to start from the bottom and rebuild, similar to what Joseph Parker did and Daniel Dubois did, in terms of when they suffered their devastating losses. They had to go on a 3 or 4 or 5 fight win spree before they were back up there, sort of thing. So the loser has to do that, whereas the winner puts himself in good stead, puts himself back in the rankings, puts himself back into big fights.